Indy's only 24/7 live streaming news option. This is WRTV News, streaming now.
I'm Mark Mullins, bringing you the latest WRTV headlines. A controversial education bill has been stopped in its tracks at the State House. House Bill 1134 would have banned divisive concepts from public classrooms, including topics dealing with race, sex, and religion. Teachers unions, students, and education advocates spoke out strongly against the bill, even after it was watered down through amendments. There is still a chance portions of this bill could be inserted into other legislation before the session ends, but lawmakers say the bill did not have enough support to pass. Signs of support for Ukraine and its people. Carmel's Monon Greenway Bridge and Midtown Plaza were lit up in blue and yellow of Ukraine's flag Monday night. Mayor Jim Brainerd says he wants the many Ukrainian residents of Carmel to know the city is hoping and praying for peace. And Governor Eric Holcomb has signed an executive order condemning Russia's invasion and promising action in the Hoosier state. The order calls on state agencies to evaluate contracts, investments, and funding with ties to Russia. It also calls on the Office of Technology to strengthen infrastructure against Russian cyber attacks, and the state will be on standby to assist Ukrainian refugees. A northern Indiana teacher is no longer employed after the district says he slapped a student. The incident was captured on video in the hallway of Jimtown High School in Elkhart Friday morning. We want to warn you, it may be tough to watch. Bago Community School says it began as a confrontation about what the student was wearing, a hoodie, in class. The district says the teacher allegedly slapped the student in the face, which caused his head to hit the wall. Medical staff treated the student. The teacher is no longer employed by the district and is not allowed on school grounds. Students reportedly walked out of class in support of the teacher on Monday. The Indiana Department of Child Services and the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office are investigating.
All this month, WRTV has been shining a light on Black voices across our city, state, and country, telling stories that not only impact the Black community, but society as a whole. As Black History Month comes to an end, we are revisiting some of those stories, hearing from new voices, and looking ahead to the next generation of Hoosier history makers. We kick things off with a stroll down Indiana Avenue. In its prime, jazz music, cabarets, drag performances, and burlesque shows attracted crowds. Home to Black businesses, including Madam C.J. Walker's Majestic Theater and Hair Care Manufacturing Company. Black churches and the site of one of the first federal housing projects in America, Lockfield Gardens. The avenue was the epicenter of Black life in Indianapolis. In the words of local activist and historian Keith Wildstyle Paschal, it was the time when Indianapolis accidentally got public housing right. As our Ray Steele tells us, it made a difference in the lives of thousands of Black Hoosiers, one that some of them continue to honor to this day.
Halloween, which is street they don't even have no more. That's inside.
At the Lincoln Square Pancake House on North Meridian, they get together every so often to catch up, have a bite, reminisce. They've been doing it for years because they've been friends for decades, ever since they were neighbors at a place that largely no longer exists. Indiana Avenue, the center of life for a large part of Black Indianapolis. That had been the case since at least the late 1800s. Even so, the act of living in that old West Side area was often itself a hazard. It's why so many people clamored for a new way of life promised by one of President Franklin Roosevelt's signature New Deal projects, one that would replace the slums for hundreds of Black Hoosiers and one that would change their families' lives forever.
Lockfield had everything you could possibly want, from the cradle to the grave.
Lockfield Gardens opened in 1938, the first public housing ever built in Indianapolis, and some would argue the best built to this very day.
We had backyards in that area, and we had a little front area to play, and it was a safe place to be.
In between Indiana Avenue and North Street, and between Blake Street and Locke Street, were 748 modern apartments. Security for Black families in an era when security for Black people, inside or outside the home, was scarce.
Everybody was basically a big family because they met together on the playgrounds, on the swings, in the inside, and the sports brought everyone together.
Talking about sports, Lockfield helped change Indiana's favorite sport forever. The court known as the Dust Bowl, even after it was paved over, was right there.
And they said it was quiet at night, but you could hear that basketball dribble at night. You could hear that. If you lived up that way, you could hear.
Usually it was Oscar Robertson.
You could hear that basketball at night.
The fact that thousands of Black Hoosiers had solid housing did not sit well with some of white Indianapolis during that segregated era. The city government squandered a chance at more federal funding for Lockfield, with then City Councilor William Orrin bluntly saying, quote, "We don't want another Lockfield Gardens." But Lockfield and its community persisted until other forces decided it wouldn't. In 1958, the city announced plans for redevelopment of a large part of the Avenue area and forced Black residents to move out, in part to allow for an expansion of the IU Medical Campus and a few years later what would become IUPUI.
If it was declining so bad, why is half of Lockfield still there? It's a known fact. They wanted that other side of Lockfield for something else. That's right. And that always has happened to us.
Plans to renovate and save Lockfield in the 1970s fell through, and part of the complex that helped change the face of Indianapolis was demolished in the early 1980s. What will never be demolished is what's on display every so often at this Lincoln Square dining room.
I think my parents today, they all gone, but I think them today that they pushed to get into Lockfield.
For years, the community would come back together for an annual historic Lockfield picnic. Those have been on hold the last few years due to the pandemic, but plans are in the works to bring it back with the hope of renewing the tradition later this year.
Even though you may be half awake, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be excited about what's ahead today. Brand new month, same feel as yesterday, really, although temperatures will end up warmer. That wind will be noticeable, a gust of 25 miles per hour. Temperatures starting warmer, we'll be at 46 by the time we get to noon, and there's your afternoon high. 60 in Indianapolis, areas to the south, a little bit warmer than that. To the north, just slightly cooler.
Indy's only 24/7 live streaming news option. This is WRTV News, streaming now.
Indiana Avenue is more than just a street in downtown Indianapolis. Its name is synonymous with Madam C.J. Walker, the first female self-made millionaire in America. She built her fortune by brewing hair care products, basing her factory in the heart of Indianapolis. While the area and look of Walker's headquarters have changed, her legacy of innovation, perseverance, and determination lives on.
It's the full circle moment of I grew up filing the beauty supply orders in my dad's office and going to the Walker building with my mother and visiting the factory.
It's been more than a century since Madam C.J. Walker launched her namesake brand, but her impact on the beauty industry remains vast and clear. And now through a partnership with Sundial Brands and Walmart, Madam Walker's great-great-granddaughter, Alelia Bundles, is launching a new line inspired by the original recipe. We sat down with Bundles to discuss her role in carrying on the Walker legacy of Walker's brand. When asked about the timing of the brand's release, she says plans have been in the works for years, but the pandemic played a pivotal role.
As we have been in the pandemic, a lot has changed in the way that we do self-care. So people who were accustomed to going to the beauty shop every 2 weeks couldn't do that anymore. And we began to become familiar with our hair in a way perhaps that many of us had not. And so we were experimenting with products, watching YouTube videos, seeing what worked, things that work in the summer didn't work in the winter. And so I think that we are very open right now to new products and to different ways of thinking.
While Bundles grew up around the hair care business, her passion was education, history, and storytelling. Bundles became an award-winning journalist and author whose nonfiction book inspired the fictional Netflix series Self-Made, which chronicled the life of Madam C.J. Walker. Despite the film being entertaining, Bundles says it got one major thing wrong.
Madam Walker's real story is not the story of the fight with Annie Malone that is portrayed in Self-Made. but it is the story of women who mentored and empowered her, building a business and then turning around and giving Black women economic opportunities and education and helping them create generational wealth.
It's a story that Bundles takes to heart. She credits her family, namely her parents, with teaching her the importance of building up others and giving back to your community. Lessons she still lives by to this day.
My dad was a businessman who also was the founding president of Center for Leadership Development. So many generations of people have gone through that program and remembered my dad. My mother was vice president of the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company, but she was also on the school board. She was also president of the PTA, very involved in politics. So I learned from them the importance of knowing your community and in giving back to your community.
Bundles was recently named the inaugural Center for Africana Studies and Culture Prestigious Fellow in the School of Liberal Arts at IUPUI. The position will allow her to inspire a new generation and facilitate conversations with change makers.
That is really an opportunity for me to bring together a thought leader in Indianapolis, along with someone I have met on a national level in journalism and philanthropy, entrepreneurship, preservation, the topics that I'm really passionate about, and try to create some kind of conversation, which I hope serendipitously may lead into collaboration.
Collaboration that could lead to rejuvenation of what was once the center of Black Indianapolis, the place Madam Walker called her own ground.
As I and others began to think about the development of that last parcel of land in downtown Indianapolis along Indiana Avenue, and we want to make sure that there is something that goes there that references the people who lived there for many generations. We want to make sure that there is a respect for the community that was there, even as we go forward and look for ways to make it economically sustainable.
Another dry day today, tack on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Dry work week. As we get to the weekend, though, our rain chances will go up. Storm system from the southwest will start to bring moisture back into central Indiana. It will pump temperatures into the mid-60s, so we'll have some rain, maybe even some thunderstorms Saturday night and Sunday. 65 Saturday, 62 on Sunday. I just thought I would jump ahead, share that with you. Let's back it up a little bit. Temperatures during the morning hours this morning, they're in the 30s. Warmer than we were 24 hours ago. Afternoon high temperature 60 or above. When the average high is 44, that's doing well on March 1st. It will be a little cooler in the northern portion of the state. Wednesday, what changes? Not a lot. Temperatures closer to 60, may fall short in a few spots as we get a west wind instead of a straight southwest wind across central Indiana. Thursday is the one time in the 7-day forecast that we step backwards. 43 for the high, so much colder than where we've been. Friday, we start to warm up again, 52 degrees. Then over the weekend, 65 Saturday. That would be the warmest temperature so far in 2022. Rain chances and some thunderstorms highest Saturday night. Sunday still a lingering chance for rain, and then cooler again next Monday.
It is tough to ignore the strong gaze and the pink cardigan as you pass by this 30-foot mural on Mass Ave, not far from the Murrah. Many people aren't able to name the woman depicted here. Our Mark Mullins has more on the contribution she made not only to Indianapolis, the place she called home, but also to the era known as the Black Arts Movement.
She loved being creative. She loved people being creative. She was an artist. And she believed in art being the power to make changes. I love Miss Evans.
For artist Michael Alchemy Jordan,
I'm 70 years old, yes.
It was a labor of love that was larger than life.
Painting, I've been doing that for like 50 years.
And nearly 6 years after Alchemy signed his name to this masterpiece that overlooks Mass Ave, he still feels the pride and the honor to pay tribute to the late Maury Evans.
You have to read her poetry. She had a lot of wisdom, and she influenced a lot of people. I know a lot of poets that love her.
Maury Evans even influenced Alchemy when he was barely 20, decades before he would be commissioned to paint her towering portrait.
I started painting in prison. I had a book of hers when I was locked up.
Her words, his paint, changed his outlook on life while behind bars. But Alchemy admits most people who walk by don't realize they are passing the image of a woman who was a prominent voice in the black arts movement of the 1960s and 70s that boasted and celebrated black pride.
Oh, I think it's something good to look at. I don't know how it does on educating them. Maybe if they go somewhere and read and try to study and learn about it, maybe so.
You can learn so much more about the woman in the life-size mural by coming here, the very place where she spent so much time as a volunteer, the Indianapolis Public Library.
Here, you'll find Maury Evans' photo on the banner leading into the Center for Black Literature and Culture. You'll find her published poems, books, and essays on the shelves.
Poets that were part of the black arts movement spoke to what we were going through as a community and really kind of distilled our feelings in a literary format.
Nichelle M. Hayes is the founding director of the Center for Black Literature and Culture. She points out Maury Evans was more than a revered author, but was also a songwriter, a pianist, a playwright, and a civil rights activist demanding changes in the education system and in prisons.
She's a woman of the people. She was not set apart. She was among us. She was with us. She was one of us.
Evans was born in Ohio in 1923, moved to Indianapolis in 1947, and remained a Hoosier until her dying day in 2017. She taught at Purdue University and IUPUI. In 1968, she produced and hosted a show which aired locally for several years called The Black Experience. And in 1970, Maury Evans published what would be one of her signature books and a poem by the same name, I Am a Black Woman.
My favorite piece of hers is I Am a Black Woman. And when I read that, I get strength, I get encouragement.
Nichelle reads us an excerpt.
I am a black woman, tall as a cypress, strong, beyond all definition, still defying place and time and circumstance, assailed, impervious, indestructible. Look on me and be renewed. Maury Evans.
Months before her death, Maury Evans had the opportunity to watch this 30-foot mural move from notion to fruition. For Alchemy, he'll never forget she spent part of her last birthday on Earth with him as he made brushstrokes in her honor.
She was standing right there and looking up at me. They said, Miss Evans down here, and I looked down and said, oh, I gotta come down. The guy whispered in my ears and said, man, today's her birthday. And that brought me to tears.
Conflict and controversy over classroom lessons have erupted across the country. Coming up, how one local school is taking on tough discussions and empowering students.
Indy's only 24/7 live streaming news option. This is WRTV News, streaming now.
The culture wars being fought in the classroom and school board meetings across the country and right here at home have started a heated debate over how to teach our kids about race, diversity, and American history. We spoke with black educators at one school to find out how they are navigating these difficult conversations while empowering students.
It is not just in February, but it's every day that we push our kids to remember where they come from and push them forward to where they're going. It causes us to reflect on the major contributions that brown and black people have made on our society, on our country, on the world. I remember loving those moments where I could hear about this man that I never seen in real life. I only saw videos or pictures of him, but the things that he did. Students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But it's all about that relationship piece, all about showing that you care. And we have many people in our building that are not brown and black, that show that they care in many ways, and our students are able to have those difficult conversations that are needed every day. It's important to make sure that they lead with integrity and strength like Dr. Martin Luther King, that they are unmoving like Rosa Parks, that they take the road less traveled like Harriet Tubman, that when they see that change needs to happen like Nelson Mandela, they'll do whatever it takes. Even if it means to be locked in jail for many, many years and come out on top, whatever it takes to see that change happen, that is our goal, to push them.
Thanks for watching. Stream the latest news and weather by searching WRTV on Roku, Fire TV, Android TV, or Apple TV.